Because if you think about like recruiting, like they told you like SF, and it was me, a jaded person, be like, hey, like I'm gonna teach you how to live out of a backpack in the woods and be dirty and not eat and be hungry. Like, that's a horrible way to advertise.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. I just got done filming this podcast with Lieutenant Colonel Owens, and I just wanted to go over the military recruiting crisis that we're currently going on, and then just getting his 2 cents on it as far as how we can possibly fix this issue. So I think it was 2 weeks ago, my buddy sent me it's a MILFA message, and on there, the Army, I guess, is talking about like it's called the IRRL. It's like they're recalling
the individual ready reserve.
Yeah, like but it also applies to retirees.
Oh.
And I'm like, I know the Air Force did that, but I'm like, the Army's doing it now. And it's like, I think there's an 8-year period. Like if you've been retired for under 8 years, they can call you back in. And I ain't doing that. So I was just curious as far as what your take is on the military recruiting crisis and how we can go about fixing it. Me, it's pretty simple. Just leaders just need to do better. Because it's like anything else you do in life. If the people that are there are not enjoying themselves or they don't feel like they're being taken care of, they're not going to want to stay. It's that simple. Right. But yeah, so what's your take on that as far as what we're dealing with right now across all the branches, and how would you fix it?
So it's going to be a little controversial, but I think the biggest issue with the recruiting issue, I guess, in the Army right now is that the military as a whole, like its systems and its traditions, et cetera, are just antiquated. And the Army is slow to change with society. It's slow to change and adapt to the new culture, new generation, et cetera. A lot of us always think like, oh, like we did it this way, like we were patriots, we wanted to serve, we wanted to fight, etc. I don't think that applies to not necessarily this generation, but just every generation. Like the Army's cookie cutter, oh, we're going to advertise the same way, doesn't work in this new day and time. I think looking at some of the antiquated like ideas, beliefs, some of the ceremonies, etc., might go a long way. And then personally, like I think it's also pay and I guess the pay and the experiences. And I use this, and I'm a bash the millennials and the following generation a little bit at this. Like I guess not bash, just be honest. Like they don't necessarily need to be in the military to get the same benefits. Like now you can telework and make more than a private. So why do I want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, run, in the rain, do guard duty when I could telework and do it, or I could get a career, being a podcaster or be on YouTube. There's a lot of opportunity, and I don't believe, just personally, like the military adapting and being inclusive enough to say, hey, like we're not going to get every 11 Bravo engineer, 11 Alpha, and turn them into an SF dude, but we need to understand like we're going to be cyclical, and we're going to need some part-timers to mix in with those long-termers. And what can we do, again, to maintain, but while maintaining discipline and standards, et cetera, to bring some of those people in? So
yeah, that makes sense, man. I think recruiting is a big, like how we're marketing, I think hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
Like we're still sticking to what we've been doing, even though the social media era is upon us, and we're still sticking to the old script. Yeah. Like we're not going to where these kids are and appealing to them and making it fun and trying to give them a reason to come in. We're sticking to the old script, and that shit is not working. Now, do you think a conscript would fix this issue, or where do you stand on that? I guess I should ask.
So I've been to several countries with conscripted militaries. It works in places like Israel, but I think that culture is built around like the conscripted in the military. Again, I can talk to some of my Israeli friends that hated their entire time when they provided service, but their entire culture is built on that defense, that we are one, we will fight, every invader, etc. But by contrast, I can use like my experiences in Korea, where a lot of the individuals who were conscripted were living their lives in the United States or other countries. They were either like highly educated, being successful in their civilian lives, and then they were forced to come back and serve, and they were just looking at like, hey, it's a mark on the wall. I have to get through it, and it's like you got those two contrasts. Those two versions, and it's like which one is successful. And for the United States, I think we have too many opportunities. I think we're too strong-willed as a people, and I also believe that our all volunteer force is a more dedicated force.
Yeah, I agree.
And I say volunteer, again, not necessarily patriotism, but hey, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for gaining a skill. I'm here to serve my 3 years to get experience, to get a second job. I'll get have a career in politics or whatever your reason. Like that volunteerism makes you want to be here. It also, it's that buy-in. Like, hey, I volunteered. I signed my name. Nobody forced me to do it. Let me take advantage. Now, obviously, that's just a portion, because there's always people who are getting out, or there's always people who don't want to serve, or don't want to spend their full time in. But the majority of people who will volunteer are going to try to make the most of it for, if not personal reasons, then that patriotism, then that commitment to service, etc.
Yeah, because when I was in Israel for a JSET we ran into a bunch of people that were AWOL.
Yeah, exactly.
it was like, yeah, we just went AWOL. We're trying to get back to New York because they were from New York.
Yeah.
And then they had to go back
service,
to serve, and they just said, fuck it. Like, it just went AWOL. So I do agree with you as far as all volunteer force. Not only are they're deadlier because they volunteered to be there, right, to an extent. So I agree. Now, as far as fixing the issue, do you think it's one of the, like, we just need to market better, we need to pay more, we need to take care of soldiers? Like, what would be your fix if you were made general?
I'll never be general because I'll get fired that first day. I think, and you might be able to correct me on this, like, I think the marketing will probably be the first stop. And I haven't looked at recruiting in a while, but throughout my military career, I can always say recruiting it always fit kind of three things. Like, hey, we're going to give you GI Bill, we're going to give you money, and then we're going to give you a school, or we'll send you to a base. Like, I feel like that's just been the cookie cutter, like, Army standard. I guess you need to apply that to today's generation. And I say that because, and I'll use my kids as an example. Like, this generation's just more educated than you and I were during our time. We didn't have the internet. We couldn't Google everything. We didn't necessarily have it all at our fingertip.
Yeah.
And that knowledge is not only, sometimes detrimental for the people that just want to be on the internet and find clicks or whatever, but it's also beneficial because now I don't have to be a private and be, a truck driver in Alaska. I could, get a career online. I can earn my degree online. I can find a community of people who are interested in something. We can form a business, etc. Like, you have to appeal to that small population that wants to serve and make it, I guess, more beneficial for them. Make it more, I guess, understand it. Because if you think about, like, recruiting, like, if they told you, like, SF, and it was me, a jaded person, be like, hey, like, I'm gonna teach you how to live out of a backpack in the woods and be dirty and not eat and be hungry. Like, that's a horrible way to advertise it. But if I tell you, like, hey, like, if you go to selection and you make it through, I'm gonna let you jump out of airplanes. You're gonna see all these countries. You're going to learn foreign languages. You'll get experiences that people only dream of. Like, you gotta sweeten the pot. Give them the sugar, but also let them know, like, hey, there's a little bit of salt with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I can do anything to help the recruiting crisis, or if I was in charge, like, I personally would lead more on the veteran community and just kind of get the guys that's been there, that's done it, to help with the recruiting, because they're the ones that can go out and speak to those kids and let them know, like, hey, these are the things that you could, gain from joining the military. Like, this is how my experience has been, right?
Yeah.
I did this. I went to, Halo school. I did the sniper. Like, I did all these different things.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a challenge, you can do this. but I don't think that's something that we currently do. Like,
Yeah.
As a retired dude, along with everybody else that we know, like no one's reached out to us. Yeah, we're bitter. God damn it, reach out to us and use us to help paint a picture for these kids, right? So they can, because a lot of them could easily see themselves in us, you know what I mean, and want to walk the same path that we walk. Instead, what we're doing is we're giving fucking Jonathan Majors millions of dollars so he can be on a freaking Army commercial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's a star and people see him. But I'm like, that dude has never served. Like,
right.
I get it. You're looking for a face, but leaning on the veteran community will probably help out a lot fucking more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I only thing I'd say with that, you have to get the right veteran.
Yeah.
Some days I am jaded, and some days I will be a great spokesman. And the one thing I'll add to that is that you probably just need somebody to understand, like, the people that they're going to talk to may not have the same drive, desires, and goals, and then they can shape it or inform the audience that they're talking to.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know a bunch of veterans who are stuck in their ways, and they cannot articulate things to a younger, different, or just a different demographic.
Yeah, so. And to your point, there are a lot of veterans out there that are disgruntled, right, based on their experience and the way the wars ended. And they can always promise it with, or hey, this is how my experience was. Like hopefully yours is different, right? But at least they're getting raw feedback from people that's been there, that's done it. Recruiters do a good job, but at the end of the day, they're there for a specific reason. Right. And I think them being, if the Army was to tap into its veteran population, whether it's your VFWs or wherever you can find them and just put in the work for you, shit, man, give us some money. Like I'll do some recruiting for you.
As long as I don't got to be a recruiter. Yeah, exactly. That's a hard job. I don't want that job. I envy those. I don't envy those dudes. And then you have to essentially make quotas because the Army needs people. Which means we have a bunch of people who don't fit the bill, but we had to check box, get people in. So.
But I tell you what, man, if the right people reach out, like I'll happily go to high school and fucking speak and tell them, hey, this is how it was for me. Like, this is what you can expect. And then just go from there. But not recruiters. Don't be hitting me up, recruiters. You know what I mean? Some people with some deep pockets. But, so yeah, guys, I just wanted to bring Tio on and talk about the military recruiting crisis. Because last I checked, the Army still missed its quotas. The Navy did also, and the Marine Corps. Space Force is crushing it though. I don't like
those uniforms, man. They got a nice uniform.
Space Force is still meeting. Flag. Space Force is still meeting its numbers, right? If you have any ideas as far as how we can fix this, let us know in the comment section below, guys. Until next time, take care of yourselves.